Have you ever wanted to play a World War III scenario inside Civ 3 but been unsatisfied by the options given to you? You've tried the whole real world countries battling against each other in these weird kind of block compromises. You've tried recreating something yourself by just using a world map and changing it to the modern era, but it's just not working for you. Well, today we've got a solution to just that problem. Introducing the Power of 8 Quick Play. It's a scenario which is on a purpose-built world map with cities already in place. It has 8 factions which are realistic but fun and entertaining, and it's designed for both single player and multiplayer in mind. The whole thing uses victory point scoring and has an 80 term limit, so it shouldn't be going on forever and should provide quick and hopefully satisfying games. The 8 factions are the European Union, led by the dual presidents Ulrich Martin from Alsace in France, Premier Way of the Eurasians, who is the son of the Russian president Adamov, and the Chinese president, the United States of America LLC, led by their CEO, President Herbert Jedediah Wright, the East Asian Association, led by Secretary General Renz Tan, the Latin American states, led by President Antonio Vicente Carlos, the African Federation, led by President Jebtar Kosi, Queen Elizabeth III of the Royal British Commonwealth, and finally, named successor Muhammad of the Pan-Islamic Caliphate. So let's get down to business and show them off. Each country starts off in the vicinity of around 15 cities. As you can see, Europe controls the majority of continental Europe, as well as these islands over here, including Ireland, Iceland and Greenland, as well as French Guiana down here. French Guiana is much more important than you may think. Each different country has their own unique unit, as well as different traits and different economies and starting positions. The European Union's real strength is their military unique unit and their really strong starting position with a lot of industry and well improved terrain. Starting with stealth, the European Union can build the Eurofighter Brouillard, which combines the best features of both the jet fighter and the stealth bomber, but at a heavy cost of production. Please ignore the text, that's the standard thing in game. You have to link it to a Civilopedia article, and as this is a very early version, the Civilopedia is not entirely up to date. Second on our list are the People's Republic of Eurasia. This is a personal union of both Russia and China, and is led by their enigmatic leader, Premier Way. These guys are really, they're all about the military, and they're backed up by their own unique unit, the T-22 tank, which can be researched with synthetic fibers. Yeah, so you may be thinking, well, what's so good about these stats? Well, it's because, well, not only do they have some extra air defense, but an extra air defense is nothing much. Well, it's actually because the modern armor actually has slightly reduced stanciness to help balance out the gameplay for the slightly weaker countries on the board, so you don't just get steamrolled by those who can secure the free resources required for your modern armor and to have the extra production capacity. So there's that. But yeah, you also may have noticed that the tech tree actually looks a bit different. Well, that's because the different civs all start off with different technologies, as you'd expect. Like, yeah, I don't think the European Union and Russia is going to have the same techs as each other, or as the African Federation would. Next on our tour is the United States of America Administration, LLC. In the United States of America in the year 2030, they have actually been taken over by a corporation masterminded by their marginally corrupt President Herbert Josiah Wright. The United States of America LLC more or less just controls areas controlled by America. You've got Alaska, Hawaii, Continental 48, Puerto Rico, as well as the Pacific military base, Indian Ocean military base of Diego Garcia, as well as the Israeli city of Jerusalem. See, Israel and America, they are very close. But yeah, the United States of America's unique unit is the Contractor, which is a slightly stronger at attacking. It's actually a 10-10 unit version of the infantry, but comes at a slightly reduced cost as well. So it really allows the Americans to just get out there and fight. You see, a lot easier to fight when they're not actually part of the military, you know. Next up is a country which not has just one, but two unique units. The East Asian Association has the ability to build the fast transport, which is, pardon me, it's here. So the fast transport, it's just a standard transport, but it has some extra movement, which is, for God's sake, pretty vital to getting around. It's very archipelago nature, and that same archipelago nature of it makes it a lot easier to defend, because to invade they need to have a decent navy, and most of their neighbours don't. Like, yeah, you got the Commonwealth in Canada and down here in Australia, but yeah, other than that, they're going to be pretty hard to conquer, but still have their outposts on the mainland, like in Hanoi and Seoul, to go out and cause some real mischief if they want to. And the fast transport is a great way of doing that. They also have the aerial bombardment and defense, which is this thing. It's a radar artillery and a mobile SAM in one, and actually comes much earlier in the tech tree than the radar artillery. So it's just a great thing to have. Really, like, because let's be honest, the surface-to-air missiles, they're alright, but like could be could do with a bit more to them, you know. And the radar artillery, like, they're a bit annoying. Like, they don't really have much of a purpose in their own right. But in this, they're combined in one, so to save you both shields and those extra clicks, it's really potent. Headed by the humble socialist President Vicente Carlos, Latin American states are they're a reasonable legal power. They have a lot of land area, but it's not particularly useful. But that's where their unique unit comes in. In the base game, the Marine is pretty useless, but the Urban Warfare Special Battalion, or the Bataillon, is not quite the opposite. it actually has a reasonably strong attack and the pretty decent defense as well. But most importantly, it comes with an extra hit point, which really allows it to like digging in the fields and give the enemy a hard time. Also, got the Americans up here ripe for the picking. So the Americans, they're often, like real life, distracted by wars in the Middle East, and well, the Latin Americans, they do like to exploit opportunities when it comes to them. Third from last, or fifth out of eight, I think that's right. You have Africa, headed up by Jeff Tarkozy. Jeff Tarkozy and his African Federation actually have two unique units, one of which is shared with the Pan-Islamic Caliphate to the north. They've got the Fanatic, which are actually invisible and can bombard just like a cruise missile. They will die in the process. And yeah, can just walk around. So, they've also come up with the affiliated group, which there actually aren't any unnamed ones here, but here is one here. And these guys can actually move all terrain like it's roads, which really like allows them to like rush around, and they also have a pretty good attack and defense as well. So they're just a really good attacking unit, and probably the most useful unit in the game, which really makes up for the really poor beginning that they start off with down here. In terms of their terrain, like you can see, it's barely improved. Our penultimate faction is Britain and their Commonwealth. They control Canada, Great Britain, and canonically Northern Ireland, India and some of their neighbours, and Australia and New Zealand, as well as the Republic of South Africa and Rhodesia. Like some of the other factions, these guys also have two unique units. The first up is their warrior class, which is it's a battleship, but it can also go quite fast and has a reasonable amount of anti-air defense as well, so it can back itself up. They also have access to fast transports, which can keep up with these guys, so they can transport units around the map, which is pretty key considering only foot units can be transported by airlift in this. So you can't just be flying around modern armor around the map. You actually have to move them by ship or by railroads. The eighth and final faction is the Pan-Islamic Caliphate. Unlike the other factions, the Pan-Islamic Caliphate has not just one, not just two, but three unique units, which, when combined, can cause a real headache for their neighbours. First of all is the pirate transports. Now, the pirate transport is a really useful unit. Not only is it the only really semi-modern age viable pirate ship, it's not got brilliant stats, but it can hold its own. It's really vital for transporting around the affiliated group, their primary unique unit. Now, the affiliated group actually has hidden nationality, but can attack units in cities. So you can bring these guys in, you can hop into a boat, and you can like cause some real chaos in terms of the guys you're at peace with. I mean, if they're human, they should figure out, but it really allows you to surprise them without you making a formal declaration of war. Like all of a sudden they're being attacked and there's nothing they can do about it. The other guys I have access to is the same guys as the Africans, and it's the Fanatics. So I'll look through some guys over here. I mean, they're pretty useless, don't really have anything to back up the assault, but bang. And they technically have a lethal bombardment as well as collateral damage, so you can really just go am and try and take them out. Nah, you can't take the city, unfortunately, but you can really do some damage with these guys. And yeah, so that rounds off the Civ overview. But I'm very thinking, well, how you know win the game in 8 turns? Is it just like some standard score victory? No. We actually got victory point scoring in effect. So victory points, you can stay as long as we only own our still so far, are given by 4 things. We've got wonder here, so you've revealed wonders, you get them. So this one, the modern age wonders, are still unbuilt, so provide a good opportunity there. Also, you also get them via unique kills, which is a good way of ramping up the score. If you're doing pretty well in combat, you can harass people, and that's a real strength to these lambs. They can just kill people they're at peace with, ramp up the score meter. Get you points by conquering cities, but most importantly, you want to hold on to cities. So you can see here, you've got Cairo, Mecca, and Tehran, actually victory point locations, and each country starts off with 3, so they're equal. So America's got Los Angeles, New York City, and Jerusalem. Britain has Toronto, London, and Canberra. Europe has Brussels, Rome, and Istanbul. Very strategic, of course. You can access the Red Sea from the Black Sea, even from there. Moscow, Akmola, Astana, and Beijing for the Eurasians, and you really just get the picture. So actually, by focusing on taking out these victory point locations, you can really bring home the thing, and by taking these out, these are actually pretty key. So most games I find actually get, even when played by the AI, get resolved well before 80 turns are up. So it's a really good fast game mode, and it gets pretty hectic. Even without player involvements, the IRA travels roads by around 2070 AD. Lots of nuclear weapons going off. It may sound like your personal hell, but it's just few enough nuclear weapons that you can continue to play the goddamn thing. And of course, drafting's still in effect. So yeah, it's pretty fun, to be honest. Reasonably balanced, if I do say so myself, and it's a great thing. So I'm actually going to do a playthrough of the entire thing, starting on the channel with one of the factions. Kind of tempted to do Islam, but maybe I'll do Africa, maybe I'll do Britain. I'll decide. If any of you have any tips about what faction you want me to play as, please leave them in the comments below. And if you comment before I start doing the thing, then I'll take it into account. So anyway, thank you for watching. If you find this interesting, head down to the description below. There's a link to another link to which you can get it off my Google Drive. And yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I hope you guys enjoy the scenario if you own the game and want to give it a try out. But yeah, look forward to seeing you when I do my playthrough.